Goodness, guys, it's great to be back. This is Sean Empire from Better Assholes. I just don't have a great punchline for you right now. So here's what I got to say. The sound quality must be so much better for you guys. So sorry about the crap that was recorded in the last few sessions because uh, I think I said it previously, right? We're just out of the studio. So sometimes during the holidays, it's not as easy to do things, right? So there you go. One thing, another thing, I probably said one thing already, another thing. Let's talk about Donald Trump. As a President Donald Trump as a 80s and 90s rap icon. So a lot of people don't know this, but before Donald Trump became president, aside from being, a big time real estate developer and media personality with The Apprentice and stuff like that, uh, Donald Trump was considered a very, I guess, prestigious type of guy. He was considered to be somebody that was very, uh, I guess, very important. Uh, it was, I guess, over the decades, over 80s, 90s, even 2000s. It was he had this symbol of wealth and power and ambition. If you wanted to talk about becoming a millionaire, becoming a billionaire, becoming somebody, doing something. It was always about Donald Trump. You used to see a lot of interviews with him, right? And then you'd see uh, him, I guess Home Alone. There were some other movies he did cameos in. So you'd see him quite often. You hear some quotes. You'd understand the guy was very wealthy. His name was everywhere, and the fact that he would kind of be in a movie here, be on WWF, be on a rapper's album, be in somebody else's, a TV show. I mean, it was incredible for somebody of that wealth to do that because you didn't really see anybody else, especially during those times. Somebody considered, okay, this guy's a billionaire. What's he doing? Okay, he's, you know, singing on a track with somebody or talking or doing it. Just I don't know. It's just crazy. So when you talk about, or the liberal media talked about, hey, Donald Trump's this racist Nazi, wow, I was just taken aback, right? Because that's not something I thought I would really hear anybody say, especially with so much evidence. I could see if there was, uh, a whole bunch of videos and evidence and whatever of him attending rallies and burning people and crosses or whatever the fuck. But I mean, there was nothing. There was actually nothing. They referenced one case, um, back in the 80s or something, which I mean, it wasn't from what you really pay attention to. It's not really a racial thing. It's not really taken out of some other weird context in the 80s or 90s or whatever happened that it makes it different. It's basically anybody would have done the same at the same time period and would have been thinking the same thing. So I mean, it's just a whole other level at that point. But aside from that, there was no other time um, that anybody was talking about Donald Trump being this huge racist. Now, look at some of these people, these rappers, this hip hop culture he's influenced, been a part of, and really, drove in those years. You look at Run-DMC. He was referenced a lot. He was, you know, often in New York, often, considered a very influential player and referenced all the time. Beastie Boys mentioned Trump quite often. Nas, the New York rapper, right? He was always mentioning Trump, especially in his earlier rhymes, was referenced a lot as that aspiration of success. Big Daddy Kane, another one of big in the 80s, right? He usually compared himself to Trump and used it in comparison about status and luxury. So you had like those type of rappers in the 2000s. He was big. Jay-Z, I mean, Jay-Z now is going through a lot of trouble, but I mean, Jay-Z was mentioned, or Jay-Z mentioned Trump a lot in the 2000s. Kanye West, besides being a big fan of Trump when he was president, of course, he saw that with the hats and whatever. And he mentioned supporting MAGA. Kanye referenced Trump a lot in his songs and interviews, right? And a lot of that is the ambition, the controversy. It's Kanye being Kanye, Trump being Trump. I think they're both Geminis. I just don't 100% quote me, but I think those two, Trump and Kanye, are Geminis, and that we got to get into at some point. Lil Wayne, I think Lil Wayne was actually a Trump supporter, but he also mentioned a lot of lyrics that had Trump in it in reference to wealth and being that guy in New York, that guy in the world, right? Same with Mac Miller. He released a song in 2011 called Donald Trump, right? Trump acknowledged it himself, called it an honor. So you could see some of these things just even recently. So 2010s to now in 2024, Nipsey Hussle, YG. Okay, that was I think a bad, right? But yeah, Nicki Minaj, he was mentioned by Nicki Minaj positively. Aesop Rocky, he was referenced. I think he had some legal troubles, and Trump tried to get him out of Sweden. He had some issues, I think, Sweden, and Trump advocated for his release as an American citizen. Rick Ross used them. Even Drake, Drake and Rick Ross used them as a metaphor for wealth and business and being a success, right? He was a Method Man in Redman's video. A lot of rappers he interacted with at a lot of, New York parties in the 90s and 2000s. And it's definitely a, hip hop and rap and even, I guess, reggae and R&B to some extent. He was always considered a influential, ambitious, powerful, money type of guy. Everybody wanted to be the next Trump. Everybody wanted to be the Black Trump. That's what hip hop was talking about at the time, right? So it's really cool to see that, because when you talk about, getting back to, you talk about racism, you talk about Trump being racist, Trump not liking people, Black people or Latinos or Muslims or whatever. You look back at a lot of these relationships and all these very positive relationships with Black people and Latin people and Muslims and Indians and whoever. I don't think Trump ever had a problem. And if you want to be a successful businessman, you need to be able to understand, deal with people, not have these cultural bias or racial bias and whatnot. And I really can't believe Trump would have got where he is today with having these bias. He wouldn't have been interacting with rappers, especially rappers back in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and, have these beliefs or be a Nazi or be a horrible person. He helped out a lot of people. You heard bad stuff from, Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton, and these were guys that he was friends with Whoopi Goldberg. These are people that he's friends with. Joy Behar, people he's friends with. And, Oprah Winfrey, who knows, right? Everybody turns their back and stabs you in the back, because if the liberals came out and said, well, you know what? No, here's 100 pictures of him with all his friends of all colors and nationalities, and with Oprah and all the people talking bad about him that he was friends with just years earlier, it'd be a total meltdown. Nobody would trust the media again. So now we're fabricating stories, and you can see how it goes. It's very unfortunate, but imagine that. Imagine that. It wasn't Obama. It was Donald Trump that was the hip hop president and a hip hop icon of the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. Signing off, it's Sean. Better assholes. See you next time.